What is up, my lovely humans? Welcome back to my channel. It's another video of me filmed in a hat because I didn't want to do my hair today. I wasn't actually going to make a video this week, but I've been pondering the idea of like relationships and family and what that means, just, you know, based on some of the comments I've been lately, because my comment section has been lit, enjoying it immensely. Thank you for the engagement. But yeah, today I want to talk to you about what family means and how you decide what the most important relationships in your life are. Please ignore the stuff on the couch. I just realized it was there. I went to Fan Expo last weekend and I cosplayed. It was super fun. I'll put a picture here if I figure out how to insert that. And I can't be bothered to go and move that and refilm the intro. So today I want to talk to you about family and meaningful relationships and all of that jazz, because as I've mentioned in previous videos about like changing the narrative about being child-free, people always say that like, oh, well, you're not going to know real love because you don't have a family. And I mentioned it in that video talking about how like I think it's really weird when people say that, because like I do have a family and I love them a lot and they're very important to me. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot too, when I talked about in my video about like why I don't date, is people always say that, oh, well, you know, you're not going to have any meaningful relationships and, you know, you don't know what love is. And I find that confusing, especially for me. Like, I've had a lot of long-term relationships in my life. They didn't work out for a variety of reasons. I'm still really good friends with my ex. We were together for 8 years. There's still a lot of love there. It just didn't work out, right? And one thing that I find interesting is this narrative of romantic relationships being the most important one you're gonna have. And I don't think that's true, and I don't think that's fair, because I have a lot of friends that are single that have wonderful, meaningful relationships in their lives. And for me personally, like one of the most kind and loving and open and honest and fruitful and meaningful relationships that I have in my life is with my best friend. I talk to her every single day. She is one of the most steadfast, loyal, kind people I know. And that's the relationship I put the effort into. And I think that maybe that is the thing, is something that a lot of people struggle with is loneliness, right? I don't personally, like, I have good friends, I have my sisters and all of that, but I think so many people are told that they're lonely or they feel lonely, and the only thing that's going to fix that is a romantic relationship. And those can be really tricky for a number of reasons for people. Like, they may have a lot of trauma regarding romantic partners, they may just be really awkward or whatever. And you can still have beautiful, meaningful, loving, fulfilling relationships that aren't necessarily with a romantic partner. And I think that's maybe something that, like, as a society, we need to get better at discussing and, you know, promoting these non-romantic relationships that can be so, so important to people, right? One part of this too is this idea of like loneliness, right? That like a romantic partner is going to fix everything for you. And I talked about this in other videos, but I think the thing is with friendships, I don't know, this might just be my personal experience, it's so much easier to be vulnerable in a friendship because you're not carrying like an emotional load, or, you know, they always talk about like emotional labor in a relationship. Whereas in friendships, I think that that can be so much more open, and like you don't have to try to remember your friend's mom's birthday to make sure you get a present, and you don't have to make sure your friend's laundry is done. And so there's these lower expectations of like your personal space with a non-romantic partnership or something like that, you know? And my best friend and I talk about this all the time because we're both single, chronically single. And why can't I build that as my most meaningful relationship? Why can't I build a life with someone who shares my values, who is kind and empathetic and all of these things, without the expectation of it being a partner, and without the expectation of marriage and kids and all of that stuff that can, for a variety of reasons, be something that someone's not interested in. And I think this may be like an age demographic thing, because I know so many people my age that aren't married. Most of my friends are single. I have 2 married friends, one of them has kids. And so I think it might be the people I'm friends with, like just my friend group and how we are. But so many of us are single and just sort of support each other. And, you know, I go to concerts with my friend and we do all sorts of fun stuff together, and she came and cosplayed for a video game that she doesn't even play with me last weekend because she's my friend and she loves me. And so we do stuff like that together, and I think that's important. And you can not be lonely just because you're single, just because you don't have kids. You can still have meaningful relationships. this thing that people say to me, like, oh, you don't have a family. It actually really pisses me off because I do have a family. I have my mom and my dad and my stepmom and my sisters and my grandparents and my aunts and my cousins, and those are all people who I very much love, who are the most important people in my life. And just because I'm single and I don't have kids doesn't mean that I don't have a family. And I think that when people say that, like, it doesn't bother me so much as it just kind of makes me feel a bit off for the people that say it. But for other people, that can be really hurtful because you do internalize that. And so you become the kind of person that internalizes the narrative that you're alone, and you can internalize the narrative that these other relationships in your life that aren't with a romantic partner aren't meaningful. And then you can become the person that is disengaging from those relationships. You can become the person that is now telling other people that those relationships aren't meaningful. And that's so unfair to the people around you and to yourself. Because, like, my sisters are much younger than I am, which has been interesting for me. They're 20 years younger than I am. And so I've seen the opportunity with them to watch them grow up and have all of those beautiful moments with them. And now they're like teenagers and we can hang out and we'll like do movie nights and make food, and it's super fun. And I'm really excited, like, as they become young adults and that relationship grows into like new and different things, and to be able to like offer advice to them and just be there for them in a different way. Because, like, technically I'm an adult, but I'm also their sister, right? So when we hang out, like, I don't care if they have a Coca-Cola at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm your sister. Like, are you physically safe with me? Sure. Are we gonna maybe eat too much candy? Sure. Yeah, because, like, I'm not the cops, I'm your sister. Right? So that's a fun relationship for me to have, and it's so important to me. And I don't like when people tell me that that isn't important, or that it's not a real relationship, or that I don't have a family, because I do have a family, and they are wonderful people who mean so much to me. And I'm sure I'm gonna get the usual people in the comments talking about how, like, I'm too sensitive or whatever it is, and that's not the point of this video. I'm not upset by the things people say. What I want to do, and the reason why I make those videos, is because there's also a lot of people in my comments section talking about how, like, I'm so glad you made this, like, I felt this way too, and I'm glad there's someone articulating that. And that's why I make these, right? Because I think the more people talk about this kind of stuff, talk about, you know, the way they're really feeling, then you don't feel so alone. Like, I made a video a few weeks ago about how I always want to go home. I have this feeling of, like, I want to go home. And even when I'm sitting in my own house, like, you can watch that video, I'll link it down below. But the amount of people that commented on it, it was just a few, but the people that commented on it saying, like, I have always felt this way too, felt so good. It felt so good, because I've tried to articulate that to people in my life and they didn't understand what I was talking about. And for me, I felt less alone. It felt so good to understand that there are other people out there feeling the way that I feel. And so that's why I make these videos, and that's why I think it's important to talk about it. And if you don't like my videos, you don't have to watch them. I didn't really have a script for this one. Do I ever? But I just kind of been pondering this over the last few days because my comments have been going off. And yeah, you're not alone. You're not lonely if you don't want to be. If you have people in your life that you care about, then you can make that relationship the focus of your life. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend. It doesn't have to be your kids. It doesn't have to be your wife. It can be the people that you decide are the most important to you, that you invest your time into. And that's how you create a sense of community. And that's how we have these conversations with people that think like us, so we don't feel so alone. And that's what I want. So please let me know down below. Have you felt this way? Do you ever get told that you don't have a real family because you don't have a partner and kids? Because, like, it's not true, you're fine. All right, my lovely humans, that's what I got for you this week. If you've watched to the end, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything you want to talk about. If you are feeling a certain way about something, put it down in the comments. If I'm feeling the same way, we can chat about it. Maybe I'll make a video about it, and then we can all feel less alone. I will link my Instagram down below. I will link my blog down below. I do have a TikTok. It is 1000% not related to this content. It's like 99% Call of Duty related. But if you like that, you can check that out too. Yeah, I'm always happy to have you all here. Thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next one.